Hey everyone. Um, I'm a bit worried about um, Twitter um, going really private and making sure that all users have to pay some subscription fee and changes in its kind of policies and all. And I have written a lot of good content on Twitter, so I'm just trying to create this video so I can go through some of the ideas and concepts that I have come up with. And these are like nuggets of things which I really keep close to my heart. Number one is chase consistency and continuous improvement, not perfection. And this is how we can build anything. This is how we can build ourselves. Um, the second one is this idea that progress is not always visible. But so we have to believe in ourselves, but at the same time we should be open to change as well. And this ties to my kind of observation around the concept of non-linearity. I believe that, and I see that it is everywhere. For example, children's physical and mental health, mental growth is non-linear. Our burnout rate is non-linear. The way we heal our mental health is non-linear. And by non-linear, I don't necessarily mean a hockey styled exponential growth. That's just a special case. And another example is discoveries and the scientific discoveries and archaeological discoveries and paleontologists, and there are so many cases. Those discoveries also happen in non-linear fashion. And our personal growth is also non-linear. A lot of work that you are trying to do which is below the surface, and then you see wait for the right opportunity, and as you know, the chance favors the prepares mind, and it takes off. Our wealth, that also grows non-linearly. The compounding effect of wealth, everyone understands it. Companies grow non-linearly. So the idea that I'm trying to convey here is that progress is not always visible. If things are not moving as you expect, don't lose hope. Keep working on it. And I feel that this awareness about this concept of non-linearity generates hope. It gives us strength to persevere. And it's a pretty unrelated idea, but I believe that a lot of mindful people, they inherently believe in this concept of non-linearity. They understand that there are a lot of things which is happening below the surface. Next one, a lot of times when you are trying to kind of shape your worldview by looking at news, by looking at something which has happened recently or in the close proximity, it's very hard to keep this thing always in mind that there are untold stories. There are people who did not share their stories that could have changed your perspective. There are stories which you haven't come across, and if you really get to know about them, you might have a very different perspective about things and situations. The next one is this concept of increasing the likelihood of being happy. I believe that you need to be good to generate a lot of like frictionless movement around yourself to create or manufacture happiness around you, but you also have to be very smart, and then you can probably manufacture happiness to a certain level. So it requires both being good and being smart. Yeah, that's I would say that I haven't found the panacea of finding happiness, but I believe that this is something which is kind of which I understand, and it's comprehensible to me. And something related to happiness is that a lot of times we think about achieving more and more, and that gives a kind of happiness, but I also see that happiness and achievements are not related. They can be correlated in some cases, but they are not always kind of relative. They don't have a cause and effect kind of relationship, especially on the long term perspective. You achieve more. There are a lot of achievers have achieved a lot more in terms of life, but still they are not happier than those people who haven't achieved those things. So I think both things are pretty unrelated, and in our life as well, that there are times when we think that we are going to achieve it, but when we achieve it, we want more, or we don't feel as happy as we thought we would be. The next one is this idea of active patience. And active patience is all about, positioning yourself well, preparing yourself, and then there is an intensity in that statement. So this is what I like. I think the next one is that is about my latest productivity hacks. I like to work in 15 minutes, time intervals. I set a quick 15 minutes timer with Siri to make sure that I focus and I don't get distracted. And I do things in 15 minutes slots, such as reading 2 books in 30 minutes. So 15 minutes one book, 15 minutes another book, then exercise in 2 15-minute slots, play drums for 15 minutes. The next one is about electrolytes. So they are my favorite drink at the moment. I love having a lot more electrolytes in my body. That's very good for kind of cognitive and physical function. Another idea is learning and improving in public is as effective as building in public. And then the next one is about a book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving FUCK. And it's a very counterintuitive approach to living a good life by Mark Manson. Not every page is full of words which you can kind of relate to, but there are ideas which are pretty relatable, and if you really look into it, if you really think about it, they can be life-changing. And the most important question to ask while building products is that how do we know that customers want this? The next one is contentment is the goal. This may sound a bit paradoxical, but we can be hungry and we can be content. 2 things that had the biggest positive impacts on my life. Number 1 was quitting smoking after smoking for 9 years, and then quitting sugar after 39 years. No one can quit sugar. Sugar is everywhere, but I got a lot of health benefits from reducing my sugar intake by 99%, 97%. The next one is to get better at what you do. Start with taking control of your health is one of the most overstated yet underrated pieces of advice. So it's quite overstated. A lot of people talk about it, but I think the value of it goes, a lot. There's a lot of value in that. The best thing in life are free, like smile, sunshine, things like that. I think very important thing to kind of get better at is how to ask better questions, how to ask concise questions, how to ask specific questions. And this one is also something which I found on internet, but I loved it, that in the short term you are as good as your intensity, and in the long term you are as good as your consistency. So what this implies is that you have to be prepared, and chance favors the prepared mind, and habits, that if you are your habits, and habits make you, habits help you build a better life. One of the most useful innovations of all time is, in my view, swimming pools. I taught myself swimming in 3 weeks after kind of just watching YouTube lessons. And this one is very close to my heart. Our best service as a human should be for ourselves, family, and friends. And this is a very serious professional advice and thought. This is very relevant to finding work-life balance. So that's pretty much for kind of today. Hang on, the last piece is good sleep at night is probably the best hack for a good mood. When you're fasting, the hack not to feel hungry is that you drink as much water as you can, and if you can't drink water, then resort to green tea, and if you green tea also doesn't help, then probably go to coffee. But this is how you can reduce your hunger a little bit. And last year I came to this realization that I don't want to retire early. So early retirement is overhyped. A lot of people think that want to work towards something where I can retire at 40. I think many retirements are more pragmatic. Many retirements are something which is more healthy as well, because as you know that a lot of pre-retired people who don't have a lot of things to do and you stop working, and depression is kind of, the chances of depression is a lot high after retirement. And this one is about placebo effect. So if placebo effect is the impact of positive thinking, is an evidence of positive thinking, then think about what negative thinking can do to our body. So it's very important to kind of think positive. The next one is scale is enemy of trust. So a lot of times when you are trying to talk about confidential stuff, or you're trying to build effective relationships, or you're trying to generate trust in a group, it's very important to kind of make sure that you talk in smaller groups, and it really helps in making sure that people trust what you're trying to say. The next one is about mental health. Doesn't matter which choice we take, there will always be uncertainties, there will always be kind of pain, suffering. So it's very important to do continuous work, and we need to make sure that we adapt and we remain equanimous. And so there is a continuous work, there's continuous effort which is needed. It doesn't matter which choice you make. So yeah, that's pretty much for today.